Hello. Today is day 179 of our 365-day Bible read. Today, from the Old Testament, we're going to be reading Job chapters 2, 3, 4. Whoa, bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Today we're going to be reading Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll do the Bible studies for Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bless you.
Thanks.
And then that'll be all for today. We're not going to read any of the New Testament again today. Because yesterday we didn't read any of the New Testament, and we're not going to read it today, but tomorrow we're going to read Acts chapter 7 from the New Testament. We'll read the whole chapter and do the Bible study for it. What was it? On the schedule that I'm following, the Year Reading Bible schedule, it has Acts chapter 7 split up into 3 days. So instead of splitting it up into 3 days, I just decided that we'll just read it in one day. So I just didn't read it yesterday or today. So the third day we'll just read the whole chapter in one day. So yes. So anyways, so today just just the Old Testament, and it'll be Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the Bible studies for Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. These chapters are actually really short, so it'll probably take us literally like 15 minutes or something to like read them and do the Bible studies like all together. So yeah, they're short. So okay, but yeah, Job is a really good book of the Bible. It's one of my faves. It's amazing. So anyways, okay, we're gonna get started. Okay, Job chapter 2. Why is this like this? Okay. Job chapter 2. Satan attacks Job's health. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves. I'm sorry. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil? He still holds fast his integrity, although you excited me against him to destroy him without reason." Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Skin for skin. All that man has he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand. Only spare his life." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with loathsome sores from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took a piece of broken pottery with which to scrape himself while he sat in the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak. Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil?" In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Job's three friends. Now, when Job's three friends heard of all this evil that had come upon him, they came each from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. They made an appointment together to come to show him sympathy and comfort him. And when they saw him from a distance, they said, I'm sorry, and when they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him. And they raised their voices and wept. And they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads toward heaven. And they sat with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his suffering was very great. All right, so that was Job chapter 2. We're now going to do the Bible study for Job chapter 2. Job chapter 2 Bible study. What further harm did Satan want to try against Job? Satan wanted to harm Job physically, but could not take his life. How was he limited? Oh, I'm sorry, that was 2 and 1. Okay, never mind that. With what did Satan strike Job? Satan struck Job with painful boils all over his body, from the sole of his feet to the crown of his head. Alrighty, so that was the Bible study for Job chapter 2. We are now going to read Job chapter 3 and then do the Bible study for that. Job chapter 3. Job laments his birth. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. And Job said, "Let the day perish on which I was born, and the night that said, a man is conceived. Let that day be darkness. May God above not seek it, nor light shine upon it. Let gloom and deep darkness claim it. Let clouds dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. That night let thick darkness seize it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Behold, let that night be barren. Let no joyful cry enter it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are ready to rouse up Leviathan. Let the stars of its dawn be dark. Let it hope for light, but have none, nor see the eyelids of the morning. Because it did not shut the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come out from the womb and expire? Why did the knees receive me, or why the breasts that I should nurse? For then I would have lain down and been quiet. I would have slept, then I would have been at rest, with kings and counselors of the earth, who rebuilt ruins for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not as a hidden stillborn child, as infants who never see the light? There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners are at ease together. They hear not the voice of the taskmaster. The small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is light given to him who is in misery, and life to the bitter in soul, who long for death, but it comes not, and dig for it more than for hidden treasures, who rejoice exceedingly and are glad when they find the grave? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes instead of my bread, and my groanings are poured out like water. For the thing that I fear comes upon me, and what I dread befalls me. I am not at ease, nor am I quiet. I have no rest, but trouble comes. That was Job chapter 3. We're now going to do the Bible study for Job chapter 3. Job chapter 3 Bible study is only one question long. Job chapter 3 Bible study. What did Job curse, and for what did he long? Job cursed the day he was born. He longed for death rather than the prolonged agony he was in. All right, that was Job chapter 3 Bible study. We're now reading Job chapter 4 and then doing the Bible study. I told you these chapters and the Bible studies are really short. All right, Job chapter 4. Eliphaz speaks. The innocent prosper. Job chapter 4. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, if one ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? Yet who can keep from speaking? Behold, you have instructed many, and you have strengthened the weak hands. Your words have upheld him who was stumbling, and you have made firm the feeble knees. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient. It touches you, and you are dismayed. Is not your fear of God your confidence, and the integrity of your ways your hope? Remember, who that was innocent ever perished? Or where were the upright cut off? As I have seen those who plow in equity, and sow trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, and by the blast of his anger they are consumed. The roar of the lion, the voice of the fierce lion, the teeth of the young lions are broken. The strong lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. Now, a word was brought to me stealthily. My ear received the whisper of it, amid thoughts from visions of the night, when deep sleep falls on men. Dread came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face. The hair of my flesh stood up. It stood still, but I could not discern its appearance. A form was before my eyes. There was silence. Then I heard a voice. Can mortal man be in the right before God? Can a man be pure before his Maker? Even in his servants he puts no trust, and his angels he charges with error. How much more those who dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like the moth. Between morning and evening they are beaten to pieces. They perish forever without anyone regarding it. Is not their tent cord plucked up within them? Do they not die? And that without wisdom? All right. So that was one of Job's friends speaking. That was Job chapter 4. We're now going to do the Bible study for Job chapter 4. Job chapter 4 Bible study. What does Eliphaz tell Job about God's justice? Eliphaz points out that God does not punish the innocent or righteous. The wicked reap what they sow. What vision did Eliphaz receive? Eliphaz said a spirit appeared to him in the night. The spirit explained to him that if God can find error with the angels and his servants, how much more would he find fault with mere mortal man? All right, so that was the Bible study for Job chapter 4. We're now going to read Job chapter 5 and do the Bible study for it, and then we'll be done for today. All right, let me see. Yeah, I knew it. So I said it would take us like 15 minutes to read the chapters and do the Bible studies, and yeah, I was like right, because it's just now hitting the 16-minute mark, and I talked a little bit before that. So yeah, by the time we're done, it'll be about 15 minutes of actual like reading and Bible study. So yeah, I knew it was gonna be short. Okay, so yes, Job chapter 5. Call now. Is there anyone who will answer you? To which of the holy ones will you turn? Surely vexation kills the fool, and jealousy slays the simple. I have seen the fool taking root, but suddenly I cursed his dwelling. His children are far from safety. They are crushed in the gate, and there is no one to deliver them. The hungry eat his harvest, and he takes it even out of thorns, and the thirsty pant after his wealth. For affliction does not come from the dust, nor does trouble sprout from the ground. But man is born to trouble, as the sparks fly upward. As for me, I would seek God, and to God would I commit my cause. Who does great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number? He gives rain on the earth and sends waters on the fields. He sets on high those who are lowly, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He frustrates the devices of the crafty, so that their hands achieve no success. He catches the wise in their own craftiness, and the schemes of the wily or willy are brought to a quick end. They meet the darkness in the daytime and grope at noonday as in the night. But he saves the needy from the sword of their mouth and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor have hope, and injustice shuts her mouth. Behold, blessed is the one whom God reproves. Therefore despise not the discipline of the Almighty. For he wounds, but he binds up. He shatters, but his hands heal. He will deliver you from 6 troubles. In 7 no evil shall touch you. In famine he will redeem you from death, and in war from the power of the sword. You shall be hidden from the lash of the tongue, and shall not fear destruction when it comes. At destruction and famine you shall laugh, and shall not fear the beasts of the earth. For you shall be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with you. You shall know that your tent is at peace, and you shall inspect your fold and miss nothing. You shall know also that your offspring shall be many, and your descendants as the grass of the earth. You shall come to your grave in ripe old age, like a sheaf gathered up in its season. Behold, this we have searched out. It is true. Hear and know it for your good. All right, so that was Job chapter 5. We're now going to do the Bible study for Job chapter 5. And this Bible study is 2 questions long. All right. Job chapter 5 Bible study. What does Eliphaz, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing his name right. I pronounce these names the best as I can. Okay. Okay, what does Eliphaz hint is the cause of Job's troubles? Eliphaz believes that trouble comes from God upon someone because of his or her sin. He is hinting that Job must have some sin that has brought this calamity upon him. According to Eliphaz, what should Job be doing now? Job should be seeking God in his affliction for his pardon, favor, and help rather than denying his sin. All right. So that was the Bible study for Job chapter 5, and we are done for tonight. A quick recap of what we did today. We read Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5, and did the Bible studies for Job chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. So yes, no New Testament tonight. We will pick back up with reading the New Testament tomorrow, just because the schedule that I'm following, it split chapter 7 up of Acts chapter 7 up into 3 days. So I just decided not to read it yesterday or today, and I'll just read it all in one day, the whole Acts chapter 7 in one day. So I'll read it, the whole chapter, tomorrow. So it's like I'm still caught up. I'm not like behind. I'm just reading it all in one day instead of splitting it into 3 days. So yes, maybe I'll start doing that instead of splitting the chapters up. No, I'll follow the schedule. But if they split them up into like 3 days or 4 days, one chapter, maybe I will do it this way. Like just not read it at all and just read it on that last day of the schedule and just read the whole chapter in one. I like that idea. But anyways, okay, I love you guys. God loves you. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are beautiful. You matter. You are enough. And God loves you and I love you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 180. Tomorrow will be day 180. So 2, 3 days after that, it'll be half a year. Once we hit day 183, it'll be half a year that we've been opening our Bible every single day, not one skipped day, every day, and reading our Bible together. That is so amazing. Like, it is. It's amazing to me. I've never done this in my life, and it feels really good on my soul. So it's like a big deal to me. So I'm loving this. So yes, a whole half a year straight. Like I've read my Bible before. Like of course, I'm sure we all have, but for a whole half a year straight every single day, like no skip days, like it's a big deal. So it's beautiful. So yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're gonna celebrate that day, but I'm not gonna bake a cake like I did for day 100. But for day 200, I just may bake a cake again. So like every 100 days. Um, so yeah, okay. So a night, I love you, and see you tomorrow for day 180.